Alright, welcome back to the channel. Warhammer Man back in the studio, and today we're taking a look at this week's pre-orders. They are live. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, Warcry, and some Horus Heresy content as well. So let's take a look. We already went over the prices on Tuesday, and I suspect everything will be right in line with what we expected. But there were a couple of items that we didn't have on the list, so we can kind of take a look at those, and I will give you guys my honest opinion on these items as well. So obviously we have a new collection, Devourer of Worlds collection, $360, and this is the Tyranids Combat Patrol, the Parasite of Mortrex, the regular Codex. We'll see here. I know in the past there's been some confusion. It is just the regular Codex, unfortunately, that comes with this set. And then you get the new Tyranids Dice and data cards, and that all comes out to individually priced $310. And then you get a limited edition Tyranid print as well, which you're paying $50 for as well. So you are actually paying for that print. It is not some free deal. This is not some bonus pack where you save a bunch of money or anything like that. It is literally just a paywall to access a print that is $50. So just to specify that, I know there's been some confusion in the past. People have purchased this set, thought they were getting the collector's edition Codex, and that kind of made up for the value, and then the print was a bonus. And I just want to make sure that people understand what they're getting with this. It is just the regular Codex. Now we also have our codexes individually. So we have the regular Tyranids Codex, obviously right in line with everything we expected. This was leaked quite a while ago, so we've already had a look at it. It is very cool, very powerful, very flavorful, and thematic. Tyranids are going to be very fun. They are going to be competitive for sure. They have the ability to play every phase of the game. They have extremely good movement, very strong psychic. They have very good combat and shooting as well. So basically, and then the ability to essentially like negate leadership modifiers. They have a bunch of different high fleet rules and super cool like relics, stratagems, everything basically. I have the ability to run either like a big brood of big creatures, like kind of like the Crusher Stampede style, or you can run a army with over 100 models in it. Both of those are completely viable and good options. And then obviously we'll see how the meta shifts, but I think that the ability for a Tyranid army to adapt right on the spot with the adaptive physiologies, and then obviously to take 100 models or 12 big ones, is definitely really cool. So you never know what you're going to get with these guys. Definitely is some serious potential for them. And, regardless if they're not going to be super competitive or you're not going to play a super competitive army, they're going to be fun again. For a while, they weren't that fun because you pretty much just had to take a bunch of Hive Guard and like the same couple things. And then Crusher Stampede kind of mix it up. Now, looking at the rules and everything looks good. Everything looks good. So next we have the data cards for $29, right in line with everything else. There are a lot of psychic powers, relics, and abilities and everything. So these are a nice little handy thing to have if you're into that kind of stuff. Next we have the Combat Patrol. We've done the breakdown on the Combat Patrol a couple of times already. Basically have one Hive Tyrant, which can be assembled as a regular Hive Tyrant, a Flying Hive Tyrant, or the Swarm Lord. We have 3 Tyranid Warriors with a bunch of different weapon like gun and close combat options as well. And then you have 3 units of 12 gaunts. So it's a total of 36 gaunts. And then each of the gaunt squads includes enough little rippers to make a swarm as well. So you actually have 36 gaunts, 3 ripper swarms, 3 Tyranid Warriors, and then your Hive Tyrant. When you do the math on all these, it's 60 for the Tyrant, 60 for the Hive, for the Tyranid Warriors, so that's 120, and then it's 35, 35, 35, so that is 225 in value, and the set is 150. So if you're going to buy this at retail, it would be $225. If you buy the set, it is 150, so you save about 75 bucks. So basically, you get 2 squads of gaunts for free. If you were going to buy 1 squad of gaunts, and you were going to buy the Hive Tyrant, and you were going to buy some warriors, you would basically get 2 squads of gaunts for free, or vice versa. If you're going to buy 3 squads of gaunts and the Hive Tyrant, you get the warriors for free, etc. So it is a decent savings in comparison to the other combat patrols. I'd say it's right in line with the majority of them, coming in at $225 in value. And as far as like usability in the game, there's not a lot of diversity in it, but it is a pretty solid core for any army. You can take gaunts in squads of 30 or as small as 10. So you can run these as 3 separate squads, or you could run them as, one squad of 30 and then have a couple extras. There's definitely some options here. Will most people take 30 gaunts? I'm not sure, honestly. I think a lot of people will take hormagaunts instead of termagants. But with the Turbogon, they can be very strong. So overall, I think it's nice. I did pick up the Combat Patrol. Next, we have the Parasite of Mortrex. $38 for the Parasite. It is on a 40mm base, so it's fairly large, but not nearly as large as something like the Hive Tyrant. It's more in line with like a flying Tyranid warrior, but it does have a large wingspan to it. Nice looking model. In actual gameplay wise, I think it's fun and thematic. It's not very expensive points wise. It does take up one of your HQ slots though, so depending on composition, it could be a fun little unit to take, and definitely has like some cool little cheeky abilities to fly over and drop mortal wounds, to potentially like hit things with its tail in combat, or when it drops the mortal wounds on stuff, to infect them with like, a parasite and then potentially spawn ripper swarms. So there's some cool little stuff to it. It's under 100 points. Definitely is a cool looking model and fun, but not sure it's going to be that popular. But I do like the actual model itself. Then they have a little Hive Fleet Leviathan Parade Ready paint bundle. So again, with these bundles, you're not saving anything. It is literally just the retail value of all these paints put together. So they just take a bunch of paints that you might use for painting and basing your models, and then they put them all in this bundle, add up the total values, and then that's what they charge you. So it's not a discount at all. So if there's even one paint out of this set that you don't want or you already have, you're probably better off just going through and buying what you want. So next we have the Tyranids Dice. Like always, you get 20 dice in the set. They are a nice purple color with very readable white dots and the Tyranid logo on the 6. These are nice dice. They're nice quality. They're big. They're chunky. Very like legible, readable, whatever you want to call it. So overall, they're nice. For 38 bucks, that's a hard pass for me. These are way too overpriced. Definitely not interested in those. So, and then we see the re-emergence of a bunch of old school Space Marine captains. I'm not going to lie. I'm surprised that they brought these back at $35 each. Most of these look horrendous. A couple of them there are cool. They're definitely like nostalgic, but there's no way any of these are worth $35. They all look super dated and pretty weak. And you can probably go on eBay and buy any of these models for like $12. So we have the Space Wolf Captain. Has the cool like Space Wolf head. Overall, super two-dimensional pose and sort of just looks awkward. Next, we have the Dark Angels Captain. Probably one of the coolest ones. Again, looks super out of proportion. Has like really long legs, a normal sized torso, and then like his head is basically like there's no neck, so it just looks super awkward. Overall, cool model. Definitely decent, but any of the newer sculpts that came out are much better than this. The actual like helmet plumes are cool. The pose is cool, but again, looks super dated. The Ultramarine Captain, again, is okay. Again, very two-dimensional sculpt. All of these are very two-dimensional. He does have some cool details in the armor where like the gold is and everything. He does have that cool kind of ultramarine-y looking helmet, and then obviously plasma pistol and power sword. Again, very, very dated model. Very two-dimensional. You can use basically like the Ultramarine upgrade sprues now to just kind of make this guy out of like a sergeant or a captain model. So when it's all said and done, you could basically just make this guy and make him look exponentially better out of bits or kits that you currently have, and probably for less money too. So super dated. If you're into these old guys and you missed your opportunity back in the day, or they're like nostalgic, it's cool that you have an opportunity to get them, but honestly, they all look atrocious. Next, we have the Space Marine Captain with Terminator Honors. Back in the day, that used to be a thing. It's basically just his little bit hanging from his belt. Again, super dated. The bolter on this guy looks like it's from, way back in the... it's super dated. He has a power fist. The proportions are a little better on this guy. It's not quite as, old and strange looking, but, again, not impressed. Then we have the Blood Angels Captain. Once again, no neck on this guy. He has some pretty cool looking armor. Again, the bolter is like so old and dated. The actual sculpt is pretty freaking bad. All these guys have a super like two-dimensional pose, and honestly just look terrible. It was kind of the thing at the time, basically, where everybody was kind of at rest in this like weird, awkward two-dimensional pose. I guess it was just easier for them to do in the molds at the time, but very, very terrible looking Blood Angels. And then you can see the exact kind of bolter position of the veteran captain. This guy, you know, kind of is Iron Handsy looking. You know, he's got the bionic leg, but the bolter in like the same position. And when you kind of look at these guys, you can really see what I mean about the same position and like kind of 2D look to them. Pretty bad. But I can understand if somebody would be like nostalgic of these and maybe want to pick them up. But again, you're probably much better off going online and snagging them up. Especially since, from what we understand, these are all coming in metal. So they are actually coming in their original form, not in the fine cast. So I don't think you have any trouble finding and stripping one of these, or just finding one that somebody just hung on to for years. That being said, not a big fan of the look of the old models, nor of the price tag on these ones, because you get a much better, cooler, brand new sculpt, you know, model for $35 made out of plastic. Exponentially better, bunch of different options, not this like weird 2D out of proportion looking guys. So now on to our Lord of the Rings. We have the Attack at Waterdeep. That is $80. It's got a bunch of the what are they called, ring wraiths, and then you know, the hobbits with Aragorn when they get attacked. That is Weathertop. I might have said the wrong thing there. Then we have the Fellowship of the Ring. This is the original Fellowship. All our bros, the heroes. And then we have the Battle of Khazad-dûm. And this is Gandalf versus the Balrog for $100. And then we have the Ambush at Amon Hen. And $80 for this. This is obviously where Aragorn bites the dust. And he's got... or wait, did I say the wrong name? Nope, that's not the right one. Yep, can't think of it. Yeah. You know who I'm talking about. He gets shot by the orc bro with the arrows and gets stuck pretty good. And that's about a wrap for him. There's a bunch of orcs. The hobbits are like grabbed by the other orcs. And then we've got the, you know, Gimli and all that good stuff. $80 for them. Been a while since I've watched Lord of the Rings. Can't even think of any of the guys' names. Next we have Escape from Orthanc. $80 for that. We've got Gandalf versus the White Wizard. And then the eagle that flies him out of there. Wait, I thought it was a moth. Doesn't he fly away on a moth? Or no, he sends help for the moth and then the eagle comes. That's right. So yeah, looks good. $80. All these models look pretty terrible to me. $80 for them. I imagine it's probably more than what they came out for originally. But if you missed the opportunity before, they're available again. Next we have Season of War Thundia. $55 for that, or $90 for the special edition, right in line with the codexes, so no surprises there. To tell you the truth, this looks like this is going to be an absolute failure. Judging by the interest from the community and the kind of reactions and responses that I've gotten from people, they are just not excited about this. It does have a little bit of stuff for every bit of gameplay. I think this is going to be, you know, the Seasons of War, kind of like Warhammer type thing. So if you're an avid tournament player, you may have tournaments that require this. I'm not sure this is going to be like the mainstream thing, but it does offer you the ability to basically get the incarnate of Gur, or Gur incarnate, or however it is, Kronspine incarnate. And honestly, looks okay. Cool little model that you can add to any faction. Basically, you know, kind of chains onto one of your character models and then sort of is obedient to you. If the character dies, he kind of goes wild. Throughout the game, he can devour endless spells or kill monsters and level up, or he can potentially be leveled down. Instead of suffering wounds, he basically just kind of loses like power level. The Realmscape Thondian Strongpoint is $220. It includes 3 old pieces of terrain that come in the like $100 Realmscape expansion set with 1 more piece of terrain as well, a second statue. And then it comes with the Kronspine incarnate, the like remnant bones, and then the cool new like fountain. I think this is way overpriced. I mean, they did it last week with the new 40K terrain set at $220, and that was a stretch. Typically, we find the like 40K pricing, or 40K tax, as I like to refer to it, on the 40K stuff because it's popular and they can get away with it. I don't find that they have that much pricing power with the Sigmar stuff, especially not with terrain. So I think including the Incarnate in this set so that it's basically like a paywall to get a hold of him is probably their ploy to get people to buy this for $220. I really like the fountain, and I definitely like the bones. I don't think I would ever use the Incarnate. Maybe I would. Maybe I would paint him up just because it's kind of cool looking. But the truth is, at $220, this is just way too overpriced. If it was all new terrain, there could be an argument for it. But for a bunch of stuff that I already have duplicates of, to basically get 2 pieces of new terrain and the Incarnate, doesn't seem worth it. I imagine it's just a matter of time before the 2 pieces of terrain are offered individually on their own. And then same with the Incarnate as well. I think the Incarnate will probably be like $80, and each of the Fountain Well and the Bones will probably be like $70 each. So honestly, it's 70 plus 70 plus 80 is $220. So that's probably the value of the entire box set if you were going to buy all these models at retail, and then you get 3 pieces of terrain and a game board for free. But I'm going to pass on this one. It's up to you. You let me know if you're excited about this, if you think it's a good deal, or if you think it is absolutely ridiculous. I have a strong suspicion this will not be selling out anytime soon. Next, the Realmscape Thondian Expanse. So it's 2 game boards. Again, $60 for this game pack. Just does not make sense to me. At $60, you can basically get a nice game mat. And honestly, a lot of these various sets come with these game boards. And it's not like they're releasing like super cool looking game boards. It's basically like the brownish kind of color on one side and the like tannish color on the other side. So it seems like they're just releasing like pretty much the same game boards over and over. They might have some slight differences on like the graphics, but not enough that it's worth buying them. Your best bet is just getting the game boards in one of the box sets and then using them, or going ahead and pulling the trigger on like an actual, like game mat or something like that. It's $60 for 2 of these. I don't think they're going to be selling too many of these either. Again, right in line with the new 40K set of game boards. And to tell you the truth, I think they've lost their minds. So next we have the Classic Inferno 46. So this is an old school Inferno from back in the day. They are re-releasing it. It's probably got some cool stuff in there, some lore, some pictures, etc. But obviously it's very dated. $8 for that. So, if you're into that old stuff, obviously that's a decent price point for it. So then we have the new White Dwarf $4.75. It's got a bunch of decent stuff in there. Nothing that particularly jumped out at me. $11 for the White Dwarf. Then we have Warhawk, the Horus Heresy, Siege of Terra, Book 6 in paperback. $18 for that. And then after that, it's just on to last week's leftovers. Again, the Battlezone Frontieris, $60 battle mats for 40K. And then we have the Frontieris landing pad, $70. The Battlezone Frontieris Vox antenna and Auspex shrine for $70. And then we have the Battlezone Frontieris STC Hab bunker and stockades for $80. We have the Arena of Shades, which in my opinion is a great value. That is basically a starter set for 2 new players, or nice expansive armies for someone. We figured out the value in this set, and it comes in at almost $400. So it's about $400 worth of models, and it's $195. Absolutely phenomenal deal. Way better of a price point than we have seen from Games Workshop on pretty much anything lately. By far the best deal currently available, or recently available from Games Workshop. So I picked up Arena of Shades myself, and I definitely recommend this set for anyone that's into these factions, or splitting with a friend, or considering getting into Age of Sigmar. I did a breakdown of the video, the pricing, and why it is such a good deal in a previous video. If you haven't checked that out and you are interested, take a look at that. A couple new characters and a new unit available in that box as well. And then finally, the Battlezone Frontieris Nakmoon set. And this is 1 game board, 2 sets of the STC Hab bunker and stockades, one set of the Vox Antenna and Auspex Shrine, and one set of the landing pad. And again, this is $220. Extremely overpriced in my opinion, all of this new terrain is. They're all cool, but they're all pretty simple and honestly not worth the price in my opinion. If you do the math though, this is $160 for 2 of these, plus $140 for these 2, so that is $300 plus $30 for a board. So arguably it's $330 worth of retail value for $220. So it is basically like saving 33% over buying everything individually. Do I think it's worth it? Not really. The terrain is cool, but definitely overpriced. If you need this kind of terrain though, and you don't want to 3D print it, or you don't like alternative brands or whatever, it's definitely nice, but it's definitely pricey. So, but that is it for this week's pre-releases. I've already pretty much given my opinion on everything here. I think the 2 new terrain sets are way overpriced. I mean, looking at this board right here, now granted, this is an actual model, not a terrain piece, but looking at this board right here, this is one game board, 122 by 30 inch game board, and it looks pretty naked. Like, it's okay, but it could use more terrain, honestly. And then looking down at the 40K version, this one again, a 22 by 30 inch board. Is that right? Yeah, I feel like we checked it last time, and it was a 22 by 30 inch board. Looks okay. Definitely like a little more chunky. I think all these like barricade pieces kind of fill it out a little more, but at least you end up with 5 main pieces and then all the barricades. With this, you basically get 5 pieces and then the Kronspine Incarnate. It's just a really naked board. You would almost like have to buy the Realmscape Expanse, Thondian Strongpoint rather, and then on top of that have to add in some of your own terrain just to play like a small game. That's almost like a warcry board setup right there. And again, it could still have more terrain. So overall, just seems very pricey to me. This week's releases are rather underwhelming, bringing back a bunch of old stuff and charging new prices for it. The dice overpriced. Data cards, I think, are a good deal. You could easily make your own for $30 or less just by spending some time and photocopying stuff or having it printed out at a copy place or whatever. Whatever. There's definitely like templates. You could definitely save some money and do that yourself if you wanted to. I think it's worth it to buy the cards. I like to have them. They're handy for my playable armies. And then also the Combat Patrol box, pretty good deal. Not the best composition. The Tyranids Codex, awesome. Definitely excited about that. And then the Parasite of Mortrex, I think is a pretty good deal. $38 for that big guy compared to just getting a regular Space Marine character from the late 80s, early 90s for $35. I'd say that's a sweet deal. But when it's all said and done, this week's pre-orders and the overall direction of Games Workshop and its pricing lately, in my opinion, not great. So Codex Tyranids is definitely a hit. Everyone's going to be excited about that. We know we have some more codexes coming down the pipeline. We know we have a new Chaos Knights box coming. The Chaos Knight Codex, the regular Knight Codex. We've heard talks already officially of the Chaos Space Marine Codex and Marines getting 2 wounds. After that, we're basically down to demons and guard or excuse me, Astra Militarum or Imperial Guard for you OG players out there. So definitely getting towards the end of all the Codex releases. Obviously now we know squats are coming, and they're probably going to get a box with the Codex as well. But I'm not going to lie, I am not a fan of the direction Games Workshop is going in, and obviously we can see at this point in time they're having no production issues whatsoever. Nothing is selling out. So if you don't feel like jumping right on something right away, I don't think you're going to have an issue getting into the future. Arena of Shades is probably the biggest value and the most likely to disappear. But even that will probably be around for at least a couple more weeks. Typically what they've been doing with these boxes is they have been leaving them in the store until the individual sets have come available. So in this set we have, basically 2 new characters and then a new squad for the Night Haunt. And I suspect probably it will be at least a few weeks until those are available. And in the meantime, you'll be able to pick up Arena of Shades. So, and tell you the truth, should be able to get any of these items through a local game store or online for 15, 20, or even more % off than that. So that is probably the way to go if you do find something on this list that you're interested in. So, but that's it for this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the breakdown. Sorry it is a little bit down, but honestly, these prices are getting a little ridiculous. I hear nonstop complaints in the comments section. I know a lot of people troll or don't even play and complain about the prices, but some of these sets are honestly just getting a little out of control. The terrain thing is really like pushing the edge here for me lately. I really like Games Workshop's terrain. I'm willing to spend money on good terrain. You know, you can easily craft your own or 3D print or use a different brand, etc. But I do like Games Workshop's terrain. I think it's the best quality. I think it is the coolest stuff. But there's definitely a point where it is just blatantly overpriced. So that being said, going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Let me know what you think down below. What will you be picking up? Are you going to join the swarm? Are you excited for the Lord of the Rings stuff? Are you going to pass on all of this? I know a lot of you guys have said you picked up Arena of Shades. I did as well. I will definitely be excited to bust into that in the very near future. If you didn't see the recent video for the commission we finished up, go ahead and check that one out. And as always, be back with some daily content. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're interested in Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, Warcry, and of course some Horus Heresy content as well. That being said, going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.